Let me stress out the analogy between a restaurant and the tracking of web activities. If you were the owner of a restaurant, you would certainly like to be able to consult what has been ordered each day to prepare for the next day. Same goes for the owner of a site. Knowing what content or features people consume will nurture the reflection for continuous improvement. The waiter is definitely the person you should consult to get you know more about your clients because he takes the orders, then conveys them from the kitchen to the clients and has the opportunity to take notes of some particularities like if a client is lactose intolerant or whatever. In tracking, the browser is the waiter, without whom nothing could be possible. The meal order would correspond to the URL entered in the address bar or a button clicked on or whatever would lead to another URL. The order taken by the waiter, so the piece of paper on which the waiter is taking the order, corresponds to it sent by the browser to the dedicated database of your site-centric tool, for example, Google Analytics. Please note that you can ask for additional pieces of information to be recorded, and we'll see that in a minute with the data layer. So basically, it records each time a meal has been ordered, which translates in tracking by each time something is happening that the advertiser wants to keep track of. The clients, of course, that's you browsing the web, and the meal, well, that's the web content, so videos, text, whatever you do online, you consume online. So you probably understand that your browser is working a lot. So far, we've seen that your browser is grabbing content and displaying it on your screens, but also what you don't see, so the hidden part of the iceberg, is that the browser is handling many tags. And on websites, you'll end with literally a forest of tags. So, well, it's really critical to make your browser work efficiently. Otherwise, well, this could be impacting in terms of page load or, well, the UX in general. If something is not going on right because the browser is a bit confused, then at some point, it's a risk of loss for the profit you could be making online. So there are many tools that would help things going smoothly, and we'll see one of them that which purpose is to manage tags. So for tag management, it's best practice to use what we call a TMS, so tag management system, to place and manage tags. Why? Because for obvious organizational purposes, one must really separate the tracking from this site or app development. Many sites or apps are developed following an agile method consisting in a series of sprints. First, the pre-production version is developed. Then, when it proves satisfying, it's pushed in production, meaning accessible to everyone. Surely, requests for improvements will emerge, which leads to another run. The new feature, new content, extra will be updated in the pre-production version and then pushed on production. It would be nerve-wracking for developers to have to paste and maintain tracking codes on top of all their developments. This is why TMS or Tag Management System comes in very handy because it allows web marketer or more surely tracking agencies to inject tracking code at any moment and any step. If you recall lesson 2, you surely remember that digital media agencies are often in charge of the acquisition phase and that they are using advertising companies' tools like Google Ads to run those campaigns. For campaigns aiming at raising awareness, measuring clicks and views is sufficient. Because those clicks and views occur on the advertising network of the advertising companies, those KPIs are easily tracked and provided in each advertising company tool. Just to name some: Facebook Campaign Manager, on which you can run Facebook campaigns and Instagram campaigns; Google Ads or Google Campaign Manager, on which you can run display and search campaigns on Google Search Engine and Google Display Network, respectively. But of course, some campaigns aim at generating conversion that happen on the advertiser's site or app, not on the advertising network the digital media agency used to promote the products or services. And this time it's a bit different for digital media agencies. To know whether or not something happened on the advertiser's site or app, they will have to ask the advertiser to place the tracking code of the tool they're using on the advertiser's site or app. Each time a conversion occurs, the tracking code will keep track of it, and the digital media agency will be able to invoice the advertiser accordingly. The challenge, though, is that the advertiser has to make sure that the conversion is indeed due to the digital media agency ad, not another channel. This is where a tag management system proves very handy, because it allows to define what the conditions to fire a tag are. It prevents advertisers from having to pay several digital media agencies for the same conversion. In this example, for this specific tag, the person inserting the tag of this digital media agency would say, okay, tag, just fire if the source is this and just if it's this. So if the source is Facebook and the name of the agency, for example, then fire the tag that would eventually grant the credit of the conversion to the digital media agency that placed this ad on Facebook. To sum it up, at the end of the day, an advertiser will probably have numerous tags on his site or app. Some of them are site or app-centric. They measure what's happening on the site or app and will nurture a site-centric tool like Google Analytics. Others are ad-centric. They correspond to tracking tags that help digital media agencies assessing their performances. The conversion page is critical regarding two aspects. First, the user experience. Advertisers spend a lot of money to try and make people come to their site. If the conversion page is not making them happy for any reason, like the page takes too long to load, there is a risk to see visitors leave the site or app and consequently a loss of profit. This is why it's better to keep the tracking separated from the development so that developers can just focus on what they do best, so make the page load quickly, all the features are working well, and so on. And on the other side, the tags on the conversion page that are really numerous by essence, because everyone wants basically to know whether the conversion was attributed to its ad. So they are pretty numerous, and a tag management system helps reducing the number of tags that would fire on the page. And at the end of the day, it has a positive impact on the time one page takes to load. And the second aspect is the campaign performance. So if the tag is not firing properly, the digital agency or affiliation agency cannot claim for that remuneration, and that's really not a little thing. So, to wrap it up, a tag management system helps making everyone's life easier, the web marketer life, the developer life, and the digital media agency life as well. So TMS, what it does? Well, you have many different tools on the market. They offer various features. Some of them are for free, some of them are paid. The most useful features are the following: placing, removing, editing, tracking code, and that's really the core, the core purpose of a tag management system. Manage the trigger, so indicating when each tag should fire, And you can also use a data layer, which is kind of a temporary database that will collect information on the fly regarding what people do online. And thanks to that, web marketers will be able to grab more information to nurture their their web analytics tracking and make sure that they offer the best experience. So here you can see the data that is stored by Tilion, which is a well-known tag manager here on the console. And also in the resource section of this page, I have inserted a link to a video illustrating all the data that H&M is caching on the data layer while visitors browse the website. And well, you'll see by yourself, it's pretty amazing. It's basically recording everything. So speaking of granularity, I guess that's a really good example of how far one can go in tracking everything that's happening while the visitor is browsing the page.